Evelyn, clinical psychologist here. Hi there, welcome. Come on in, have a seat. I've grabbed myself a cuppa to talk to you this afternoon about what is your growth patch. What is your growth patch? Sparked by a conversation I've had in this last week with someone who's working in a particularly difficult situation, in that the industry that they work in is fairly hardcore, long hours, high turnover rates, intense people contact, caring for carers, that sort of thing. And typically we can have a kind of a hopelessness, a professional hopelessness that can come into this space where we accept and settle that in such industries, burnout is just part and parcel of the way that we will go. And so at best you get a good 10 years and then it's time to actually let go of the things that probably causing the burnout, and usually that is a painful decision to let go of the actual work that you're doing and move into some other areas where you're less in contact with those dynamics, or move into a different industry altogether. And I have to say that that's probably the reason that got me thinking hard and deep and long about this sort of surrender to burnout when I first started this work, is I thought to myself, there has to be a better way. And in this conversation that I had this week, I thought, I need to share this, because what we talked about was breathtakingly insightful and so important to share out there. And we talked about the little growth patches that we can have when we're working in such a space. What do I mean by a growth patch? Well, essentially, there are going to be elements, if I could draw concentric circles, there are going to be elements of the place that we work or we serve that we can't control, because they're other people's patches. They may be upper management, they may be a different department, they could be government policy impacting and impinging on the way that you do things. So there are going to be these circles that you're not going to be able to influence. However, there is going to be a patch where you can actually exert a degree of influence, persuasiveness, vision, inspiration, conversations, that you might be able to say, well, I'll water the grass in this patch rather than looking to see if the grass is greener on the other side. And it might be a simple thing of, I'll paint a few examples, very little to do with the conversation I had, but some examples. You might be someone, for example, who is caring for somebody. You're the primary carer for a person, and you're tired and you're exhausted, and there's very little about that patch that you can control. In your own world, however, maybe to counter and combat the feeling like you're stuck or that things aren't progressing in the caring space for you, you might want to engage in a growth patch that grows other things, whether it's herbs or a plant or a fish. Maybe that's the thing. Or if you're in a particular situation where you're just not getting the ability to express some creativity or even resourcefulness to bring about some solutions that that could help, maybe you could invest in your personal life to have a growth patch where you're actually feeling like you're putting some creative solutions into place. That could be a project at home, or it could be a thing that you make. I remember talking to someone once, and carpentry became that hopeful space for this person, where they took the best of them, the ability to look at plans, be detailed, orientate themselves to material and build things because they were feeling stuck in that particular space. Now, in a work environment, in an industry, this is probably an example of a hopeful space for me. Being able to engage with carers and helpers before they get to that point of burnout. But for you, it might be Maybe there's a particular physical space in your office that you could speak to the powers to be and see whether or not you could contribute together with a bunch of other people to making that a more connected space or a more reflective space or even a more communal space. Maybe it's about saying it's high time we actually got a fridge or a microwave and a table and chairs to sit in. So what is that growth patch for you? It could even be a project in your office environment or in your work environment where speaking to the right people and finding like-minded people may just give the genesis of hope and genesis of almost rebirth into a space that doesn't feel quite so jaded, quite so done, quite so fed up and feeling like you're over with. So here's to finding your growth patch in the space that you're in. Love to hear what you've done before, any ideas that you might have. Catch you later.